I am Ray, and if the Buddha had Instagram, he'd delete it. You see, we often don't realize the dramatic impact certain things have over our mental health. We just allow them to run in the background, and they slowly lead us astray. But not fast enough for us to realize that anything is going wrong. It's like the boiling frog, or like Hitler. Let me explain. If Hitler had told everybody his plans up front, little Germany would have probably had said, "Oh, whoa, man, not cool." But he didn't do that. It was just a slow seduction into death. Same thing with frogs that boil. If you put a frog in a boiling pot and it's really hot, it's going to jump out. But if it's just a nice slow simmer, like a frog jacuzzi, well then there's nothing wrong, it's all good. Then you turn up the heat, and you turn up the heat, and then before you know it, boiled frogs for dinner. And this is what social media can do to us. Do you want to be a boiled frog? Answer me this. So today I'm going to show you why you should safeguard your mental health from social media. And the 7 reasons why, if the Buddha was alive today, he would delete social media. And if you're tired of suffering endlessly in the samsara of your mind, click the link below. Monster Mind Mastery, check it out. Now, I just deleted Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Studio because something funny happened the other day, and it has to do with a little man called Andrew Tate. I reposted a video of him on Instagram, and people started attacking me in the DMs. What is wrong with you? Don't you know what he's done? And this one lady went all out to disturb the community. Clearly a little bit loopy. One moment she was attacking me through voice messages. The next message she was trying to be cool and nice. It's red flags. But I realized the error in my ways. Why am I even bothering with this? Why is this even appearing in my eyes? I have the power to just turn it off. You see, social media is a place where people like to dump their garbage because they feel free that they're not going to get hit in the face for actually speaking what they think. So you get a lot of trolls and people who come out of the caves. They rear their ugly heads and vomit all over the place, and then they go back. You see, as I often say, energy is power, energy is life, energy is the force of creation, and our mind is a tool that directs the flow of energy. So, the entire quality of the life that we create for ourselves is determined exactly by the quality of the things we focus our attention on. Just as if you focus on eating unhealthy food all the time, you're going to be sick, and if you focus on healthy food, you're going to be healthy, for the most part. Same thing with our mental diet. Now, of course, social media is a double-edged sword. You can look at something, a 10-second video that changes your life, and you can also get a lot of brain rot. You built that for you page brick by brick, my friend. Just remember that. And so the first reason the Buddha would delete Instagram is fasting of the mind. You don't want to be eating all of this mental junk food all the time, especially when it comes to spirituality. Because what happens is that even the good stuff, even the good information, we see it and then we just swipe. Like that 10 seconds could have changed your life, but you just, in the habit, like a monkey. More. It doesn't actually do anything for us. Just dopamine drip all day. If we want to live a good life, to master our realities, and create the life of our dreams, we have to put up barriers of the things we allow ourselves to focus on. A great example is that if you're trying to live a new life and your old friends keep coming around, and when you talk to them, they talk about things that are not aligned with the version of you who you want to be. They kind of pull you back like crabs in a barrel. Well, guess what? Gotta fast. Gotta get rid of that memory within you, my friend. Fasting is the number one way to detox. So what happens is that, after years of scrolling or years of hanging out with stupid people, we accumulate all of this toxic energy. And that is often why it's so hard to move forward or to move on. It's like we're trying to get to our next level in life, but we're carrying this big bag of rocks on our shoulders. In order to get to that next level, we have to let go of the rocks. We have to let go of those attachments of the mind. And what's the best way to get rid of an attachment? You starve it. Now, one thing people don't seem to understand is that social media is fake. It's not real. Social media is like its own little samsara. It's an illusion. And if you're caught in the illusion, bad things. I recognized this early on in my YouTube career. as I was editing videos, my videos would suck, but through the editing I could change them and make them look cool, or at least make myself seem better than I was. And people only see the polished end version. They don't realize that it's a construct. The version that you see is not the real version. Transformers again. It's time to fight for my country. My apologies, I had to change my wardrobe. It's too hot. Here we are. And think about it practically. People aren't going to put the monotonous day-to-day misery up on social media. They're only going to put the best 0.01%. And guess what? Because human beings don't like the unknown, we don't like the void, we just fill in the other 99%. And just assume that it's like that. And it's not. You might see somebody having all kinds of success on social media, but they're miserable in real life. You wouldn't know that, because why would they post that on social media? They wouldn't. But we believe it. We have to realize social media is not real, my friend. And that is the second reason why the Buddha would delete Instagram. Because he would see through the illusion. You see that? And this is the trap that most people fall into. We think the false reality is the true reality, and so we live in this little construct, the Matrix. And that is the source of much, if not all, of our suffering. Because when we are living in ignorance, we are living in darkness. We are not aligned with the truth. In order to break free from the illusion of social media, we must begin living in real life. Now, another problem is that the mind is like water. And every time something stimulates the mind, it creates ripples in the water. Now down here is deep peace and stillness. But when there's so many ripples, we become separated from this deep inner peace and inner stillness, and that is why we suffer. Think about you just going about your day, you go on social media, something triggers you, something makes you feel bad. You immediately get a little bit anxious, or frustrated, or angry. It disturbs your emotions and it disturbs your mind. That inner turbulence separates you from inner peace. And the more we're just constantly stimulating ourselves, the more separated we become from inner peace and wonder why our mental health is so bad. Well, it's not that complicated. You see, peace and stillness is the default state. We don't need anything to be at peace, but we always need something to disturb our peace. But the great news is that we have power to stop doing that. Because only we disturb our own peace, nothing else. We allow the disturbance in. It's like somebody cut you off in traffic. Your reaction to them is what disturbs your peace, not them. If you didn't react, you wouldn't be disturbed. If you didn't care, it wouldn't mean anything. We're always disturbing our own peace. Stop it. And this is the third reason. The Buddha would choose stillness over stimulation, because stimulation is like stupid. You know, you might think, well, what's the deal with these spiritual people? Why do they do this? What's the purpose? Why do they feel superior to the earthly people? But the spiritual people and the earthly people are doing the same thing. The earthly people get pleasure from stimulation. The spiritual people get pleasure from stillness. It's like the difference between getting just zapped a little bit with like one of those shock pens, that's stimulation, versus being tapped into a 240 outlet. And just pretend for a moment, why don't you, that instead of getting zapped to death, it's zapped to life. In other words, the more still you can become, the more you tap into the electric cosmos, the more you feel alive. But because we don't know how to tap into that, we settle for short-term temporary pleasures. The problem is we cannot find lasting satisfaction in a temporary world. But we can find lasting satisfaction in an eternal world that is within, that is in stillness. We find that inner peace, and with that peace comes satisfaction. We just live from that state. Then we can go and enjoy the world, but until we find it, we're going to be on this never-ending hamster wheel, trying to find happiness in the same places we lose it. Now, there's this analogy that spiritual teachers sometimes use when it comes to spiritual awakening. It's more of like a Hindu, India kind of thing. And that is, if you have a tree, a baby tree, You gotta put a fence around it. Because if you don't, the cows and the animals are gonna come and just gonna chew. You're just gonna chew. No more you. But once the tree is full grown, you don't need the fence anymore. It's all good. Same thing is true for our spiritual awakening. And more generally, our mental health. Because we're caught in between two worlds. The earthly world and the godly world, the spirit world. And you see, the mind can only focus on one thing at a time. So we gotta focus on one or the other. But if we get caught in this kind of halfway place, we're just gonna be miserable. This is what I tell people on the spiritual path. You gotta go all in. This is what it means to put up that little fence. Is that in the beginning, you're gonna be vulnerable. You're gonna be sensitive to the distractions of the world. So you almost gotta just take away all of your attention from this and focus it toward this. Go all in on the spiritual path. And then once you become rooted in this wisdom, you can return to the world and do your thing, because now you're like a full-blown tree. You don't need to worry about the cows anymore, and they're chewing. But think about if you're struggling with mental health. If you just kind of continue to go about your day, going on social media, going out into the world, it's like you're trying to heal, so-called, but then you're also allowing yourself to get wounded again. Without focus, not all that much can be done. So whether you're on the spiritual path or whether you're trying to heal, it's all the same thing. You have to protect your mental health and become secure in yourself before going about living normally again. It's like my thumb. I hurt my thumb. It has to go out of commission for a while until it starts healing, and then I can do stuff again. Now let's call the fourth reason the Buddha would delete social media as having his priorities straight. If you're suffering in the world, you gotta focus on what really matters. It's not like you have to sacrifice the whole world for the spiritual things. It's that things need to be put in their right place. Seek first the kingdom of God, and then everything else will be added onto you. Go all in on the spiritual path, on your healing, on allowing your cup to overflow first, before you worry about filling the cups of others, before you worry about going and living your dreams. Because if we do not find freedom, if we do not heal, we'll be going through the world with all of this trauma, all of this baggage, and we'll be less effective and efficient at everything we do. Now, we alluded to this earlier, but there's a little thing called junk food. That is what social media is 99% of the time. Even the good stuff, even the wise words. Oftentimes we just eat and eat and eat. We consume and we don't swallow. And we don't digest the information. So we go over the place and puffy cheeks. We got puffy cheeks. That's your new name, Puffy. Not Puff Daddy. This will make you spiritually sick. It's just a terrible thing. Because you might find the answers to all of your problems and then just swipe. Oh, I guess I gotta keep searching. Gotta keep swiping. That's what happens when we just consume, we don't apply. Knowledge without application is useless. Now, I've been on social media and found things that, well, that changes my life. Like I said, we can find information that changes the game in like 15 seconds. But what I would do is, well, I would either save it and or act on it immediately. Same thing with like reading a book. We can read books all day, all day, all day. A lot of people ask me for book recommendations. But no book is going to replace life experience. Instead of trying to find a new book, what you should do is figure out what you want out of life. Get clear on where you're going, on your mission, your purpose. And on your purpose, as you begin walking the path, books and information will just fall into your lap. The exact books you need at the right time, so you don't need to go search for the books. Allow the books to come to you. And then take it a step further and realize you don't have to read the whole book. All you need is one piece of information to absolutely change your life. So don't feel like, oh, well, I started the book, gotta finish it. If you found what you needed, just stop it. I was reading a book the other day called The 4-Hour Workweek, and it's like a 12-hour audiobook. And I got everything I needed in like the first hour or two. So I stopped reading it because I don't need it anymore. Maybe there's some more information to go back to, but it doesn't matter. It's better to read or receive one piece of information and focus on that. That's why like reading quotes is so powerful. just take one quote. Think about it. Don't keep reading 20 quotes. And another thing, bringing it back to books. There's this method that I use when producing music. It's called finding the gold. So what you want to do is you expand broad. You try out a million different things. So you read a bunch of books. You don't read them all the way through, but you just start reading a bunch of books that interest you. Or let's say you don't know what to do with your life. You try a bunch of different things. If you don't know your purpose, you gotta just do something. So you go broad, and then eventually what's going to happen is that you're going to tap in to the gold. So there's dirt everywhere. So you're panning, you're sifting the mud, trying to find the gold, and then eventually a gold nugget will appear. Meaning, out of the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 things you try, there's going to be one that stands out above the rest. And you'll know it because it taps into your soul. You'll feel it. You'll probably get goosebumps. In music, for me, this would be, experimenting for an hour in one song, trying, building 10 different songs in one project. And then the moment I find the gold, find the thing that really clicks to me, everything else goes out the window, delete. Build a song from the gold. Same thing with the books. You read a bunch of different books, find the ones that resonate most with you, stop reading other books. Now you start building this library of gold where you have like 3 to 5 books that you read over and over again because these have the greatest impact. Think about the 80-20 rule. 20% of everything will give you 80% of the results. 20% of the books you read will give you 80% of everything you need. 80% of all social media is garbage. 20% will actually make a difference. So if you disobey my words and continue swiping, naughty, naughty, find the post that has the greatest impact on you and just rewatch it. And then stop after that. Leave on a good note. Allow the information to change you. Digest the food. Don't just keep stuff in your mouth because it doesn't do anything. It slows you down. And even worse, you might actually find what you need most. Find the gold, my friend. Stop eating mud. The Buddha would delete social media because he believes, perhaps, I don't know, never met him. Application over knowledge. Knowledge is great, but knowledge without application is just dead. Now, perhaps the most damaging thing. You know how we mentioned that energy is the force of creation and our mind is a tool that directs the flow of energy? Remember? Well, guess what? Without focus, you cannot create anything. If I was an evil dictator, the first thing I would do is destroy your focus. Because if I knew you had God power at your disposal, I would do everything in my power to not let you access that. So not only would I keep you ignorant, but I'd also keep you unfocused. I would destroy your attention span. Good thing I'm on the side of the good guy. Where am I? Think about like planting seeds. You're trying to grow some tasty mangoes or something. So you plant some mango seeds, you got a row of 5, and each mango seed requires 10 cups of water. But because you don't have focus, you get to like 3 cups and you're like, okay, I gotta go to the next one. And then you pour 3 cups and then, I gotta go to the next one. And you pour 3 cups and then you gotta go to the next one. And then you pour 3 cups and then you... Stop it. You're not gonna grow any mangoes. You will be starved of mangoes if you do that. So don't. And if you do, well, congratulations, you played yourself. It's the same thing with our creative power. A lot of people don't have any success in life because they don't know how to focus on one thing. Again, finding the gold. You can work hard your whole life, but if you're in the wrong boat, you're not getting to the right destination. Once you find that gold, you focus one pointedly toward it. And that is how you have success. That is how you can achieve anything. As I've gone along my journey, I'm a very creative person. I got like 1,000 different things I like to do. But the problem with creative people is that they're unfocused. If I got 10 things I love, well, I can't do 10 things at the same time. The mind has one thing it can focus on. So a lot of creative people never actualize their potential, even though they have big potential. They have big dreams, big visions, but they never bring it to reality. They stay stuck in fantasy land because they don't know how to focus. It's like you got 10 babies. Well, you got to get rid of 7 of them. Which 7? Which 3 are your favorites? Oh, that's a hard question. Well, You gotta figure it out. Social media will absolutely destroy your focus, your attention span, because it programs you to only be able to pay attention to something for like 15 seconds or less. And I found myself doing it. Where it's like a video goes on for like 5 seconds too long. Like they don't get to the point. Swipe, swipe. Hurry up, swipe. Makes you impatient. Patience is a virtue. So my recommendation to you, my friend, if you really want success in life, don't you want success in life? You should focus on no more than 3 things at a time. Big things, I mean. So for me, that's exercise, content creation, and music. Maybe I'll add a few little things here and there. But generally speaking, if we start implementing more than this, our attention becomes diluted. Some of these areas are going to be a little bit less. The more you can focus on even just one thing, the more powerful you become, the more success you will have. So I would ask you, what is the thing you value most right now? Get your list of 3 priorities and focus on the most important one. The second one gets less, the third one gets even less. That's how, as, a creative person, I've been able to have success. And this is the 6th reason why the Buddha would delete Instagram and social media. Because it fragments your focus. It destroys your ability to be a divine creator. Neuters you. No balls. Sorry. Now after I go through the 7th one, we're going to do a bonus. Wow. Of why the Buddha might actually keep social media. Stay tuned. You see, the last and probably the most devastating reason that social media ruins our life, ruins our mental health, is, well, have you ever seen most people out in their day, people who use their phones all the time? If I'm talking to someone and they're using their phone, I will just stop talking. Don't use your phone when you're talking to me. You cannot focus on multiple things at the same time. And when you're so engrossed in your phone, you're separated from real life. People don't realize they're missing out on all the most important moments of their life because their phone is in the way. Have you ever been to a concert? Look at all my... They're recording the concert, and they're never going to watch it again, but for some reason they think this is the right thing to do. Let me record this and have terrible audio. So I'm going to miss the actual experience for this lesser experience that I'm not actually even going to experience. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And you see, the whole crowd sometimes does this. We're living life through a phone. And logically, it doesn't make any sense at all. But because the phones have hijacked our animal bodies, we're a slave to it. There is literally nothing more dumb than being on your phone all the time. Unless you're actually doing something productive. If you want to ruin your life, first thing when you wake up in the morning, just go on your phone. Swipe. Swipe. Guarantee you, after like 3 days, you're going to be miserable. It's the easiest way to just make yourself a slave. And the thing is, we just are a little bit unconscious. If we could snap out of the hypnosis, we would realize how stupid our actions are. There was a great moment in a movie. I never watched the movie, but I saw the clip. I think it was Ben Stiller and Sean Penn. And Sean Penn was he's photographing like a lion or like a mountain lion or something. And Ben Stiller said, "When do you take the shot?" And he just stared there into the distance. He said, "Sometimes I don't. If I really like a shot, I won't take the picture. I'll just look at it. And I'll just enjoy the moment. I don't want to take the soul out of the experience through digital things, like cameras, because it's not real life. There's nothing that comes out of it. We sacrifice the only thing that truly matters for an illusion, for this fantasy. We sacrifice real life for this digital world. This is only the beginning. Just wait. In the next decade, we're all going to be wearing virtual reality masks. And then people are really going to be stuck in an illusion. Just prepare yourself. You probably don't think that you would do it, but when all your friends are doing it, it's a different story. The last reason the Buddha would delete social media is because it separates you from life. It separates you from the only thing that really matters. Now, the last bonus in which the Buddha might actually keep Instagram or social media. And this is an advanced thing, so be careful. It would be something similar to the Agori. And the Agori are a sect of Hindu monks that worship the god Shiva. And they meditate on dead bodies and they eat and drink out of human skulls. And most people would think, well, that's pretty demonic, my friend. Why would they do that? And the reason they do that is because through shock, through disturbing things, through things that are disgusting, it cuts away your attachment. They take the left-hand path, which is sometimes referred to as just short and brutal, like getting your head chopped off real quick. It's different from other spiritual paths that are more gentle, more slow, easy ways to enlightenment. This is just like deep suffering right now you're free. Not for most people. But the thing is, once you kind of realize why they do this, you understand that it doesn't matter what you experience. Everything can be used for your spiritual growth. In fact, everything is an opportunity. All the things that trigger you, all the things that make you angry or get on your nerve, they are your spiritual teachers. All your temptations, all your addictions, all of your problems, all of your struggles, they are your best spiritual teachers. But not many can see that. Most are just trapped in their own emotional and psychological drama. But the Buddha, in his wisdom, could see social media as a spiritual teacher. It only works if you use it to reflect upon yourself. That's the only thing that matters. You watch your unconscious tendencies. Oh wow, this is what I'm interested in. I just mindlessly scrolled for hours. Why? Why would I do that? And you can begin unveiling some unconscious attachments, things you weren't previously aware of. You got triggered by something. Why? The good-hearted, moral people, they do their best to live a good life, a righteous life, and that is their spiritual path. But the wise use everything they experience as stepping stones for their spiritual growth. They spiritualize their life, and therefore it doesn't matter what happens. They always come out on top. I am Ray, and if you want to get your mental health back in order, I created this program to help you become free from your negative thoughts, from the prison of your mind. Click the link. You can learn more down below. Much peace and many blessings, and remember, just be.